Hi guys. Last night, the night before last, Mabel woke up at like 4 in the morning. I have no voice left. And she was struggling to breathe. Now the night before 4 o'clock, at like 9 o'clock, she has this ducky that when you squeeze it, it goes wah, 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 wah. And she kept bringing it up to play, and I was throwing it off the bed, and she would run down the hallway and get it and come back. But by 4 o'clock in the morning, she was struggling to breathe. And she kept coughing and coughing, so I got her, and I got dressed, and I ran out to the, we had an emergency vet clinic in this town not that far from me. And I ran there with her because I had done that many times. We had a bulldog. We had a bulldog named Remy who died at 3 years old. And we had run there so many times prior to his death. Anyway, so I ran her there, and they were closed. They don't have night hours anymore. I never even thought to call. It's just like an emergency clinic. So I drove her back home. It was like 6 in the morning. And my vet opens at 8 o'clock. So I thought, we'll just show up. Because although she was breathing, she was like panting. So I show up there, and since she was a puppy, they had told me, you know, she has a heart murmur. I have a heart murmur. My mother has a heart murmur, which now I'm going to subject to some research because I didn't know. At any rate, so I bring her to my vet, and they say, they listen to her heart. They took me right away, but they listen to her heart and say, you know, that heart murmur is a lot worse. And I was like, really? And they were like, yeah, and the reason why she's coughing is because she has so much fluid in her lungs. So he said it was congestive heart failure. So I was like, her heart is failing? And he was like, no, we're going to give you these 3 meds. Give her them when you go home. And, you know, and then if she's not better in the next 24, 48 hours, come back. But that this should clear up the fluid in her lungs, and, you know, she should be okay, but they take 24 to 48 hours to, like, kick in. So I was like, okay. One of them was Lasix. Anyway, so we went home, and she was just panting and panting. So I called him and said, oh, and she had started... I gave her medicine, and she had started like coughing up all this thin, frothy, like spit or saliva. And he's like, that's good. That's what, you know, that's the disease. That's what she has. That's what's coming out. So it's like, okay. And it's good. She's getting it out of her lungs. Yes. You know, that we typically see that. Okay. So I just tried to keep her, you know, calm all day because she couldn't rest. Like, she would try to go to sleep. We had been up since 4. She would try to go to sleep, but she had to pant. So she would just, like, leave her head up, pant, and close her eyes. So around dinner time, for her, that's like 4. I went to feed Piper, but she didn't want to eat. So I was like, all right, fair enough. And she had like a half a pill I had to give her because it was 3 in the morning, a half at night. So I gave her that pill, and I got that down. That one, I crushed it, so it went right in. And then she started like taking much deeper breaths. So I was like, oh, that's good. This is like starting to work, you know? Like instead of panting, she was like taking breaths. And she had been on the bed pretty much all day, you know, and And I thought it was really funny that with Lasix on her, like that's water pills, that I take water pills. And, well, I take blood pressure med, which is a water pill. But I found it kind of funny that she didn't pee at all, like at all. And I was like, wow, maybe I should call the doctor and see if I should up the Lasix. Because wouldn't she have to pee by now? And, so she jumped off the bed. And she walked out into the living room, and I was like, okay, that's the first time I've seen her walk, like, without, like, me involved. And then Piper came into my bedroom and, like, sat at the doorway, and they had this game where, like, one will sit at the doorway so the other one won't pass until I move the one. So I said, she came back in from the living room into the bedroom door, and I said to Piper, Piper, move, let Mabel get in here. So Piper got up on the bed, and I just looked at her and thought, let me just pick her up and put her on the bed. And I walked around and I picked her up. Or no, I went to walk around to pick her up. And she had some sort of a event. In my arms, you know. And she passed away. It took a few minutes, and I just kept talking to her. And I had Carrie on the phone, and Carrie was like, well, grab her up and take her to the vet. And I just said, no, Carrie, it's so too late. Like, whatever is happening, it's too late. And it was. So, she's like my best friend for 12 years. I took her to work every day for about 8 of those years. She was literally the smartest dog. I taught her the word soon, so she would not bug me, because we would be like getting ready to go somewhere, and she would run to the front door, and I'd say, Mabel, not yet, soon, Mabel, soon. And she would be like, all right, that means we're still going, but I don't have to be like by the front door. She was just like one of the best things that I ever had. And I wish everybody once in their lifetime a dog like Mabel. So I'm in the middle of this project in my house, and of course Tim came down, and he was like, people are devastated because they knew her. She was at work so much, like up until recent years. And she didn't like the car anymore, which was really strange for like the last, I just look awful, but sorry. She didn't like the car anymore for the last couple of years. I don't know why. She used to love the car, and she just stopped one day and was like really anxious in the car. It was so strange. But anyway, I have off until Tuesday, and my house is like totally in pieces because I'm doing this purge. And I just don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like doing anything. I've only had a few hours sleep last night. Really kind of shell-shocked after stuff like this happens. You know what I mean? Like, you revisit that one moment in time over and over and over, instead of leaving that alone and thinking of all the 12 years of amazingness that I had with her. She was like ridiculously special. I never once put a leash on her, and I could have walked down the highway with her. She would like heel to me. She was like the best thing. Piper, unfortunately, is not that bright. She's the one. And Piper's looking around this morning like where I let Piper be with her last night. My son came over to bury her in the dark. But I let Piper see her because when Jeff died, Mable was not with him. And she had this disconnect. Like if anybody in the room would say the word like daddy, Mable looked around for Jeff. Like, well, where is he? And there was this like disconnect. So after Mable passed, I had her laying up on the bed wrapped in a baby blanket, and I pulled Piper up to show her so that she wouldn't be looking the same way Mable looked for Jeff. So, but what I noticed is since then, she is just asleep, and Piper's like never like the sleepy girl. But she just like wants nothing right now. She ate and came back in and fell asleep. And if I touch her, she just like rolls over. She doesn't want to play. She's just down. And she's going to have a hard time being alone. I know that. So I guess I'm going to take her to work with me for a little bit until she gets used to this. I can't leave her alone in this house. Like, that's just not even going to happen. I do have my sons with Pony, who's another one of her, like, best friends, and I can drop her off there some days to play with Pony for the day, but I don't know. But anyway, I'm heartbroken. I hope she's with Daddy. That's what I told her. Go see Daddy. Awful what you do to yourself, you know? You just play it over and over. Whew. I will forever be grateful that she was mine. Forever. She was kind of like the special dog, do you know what I mean? I just can't believe she's gone. Anyway, obviously there's no Sunday show anyway this week. And as soon as I'm feeling a little better, I'll be back. I just wanted to let you know that, yeah. All right. I love you guys.